Who was Serug, generation 17? Let's explore this question. We've been exploring the patriarchs, and we know that Arphaxad is a son of Shem. Selah, Eber, Peleg, Ru, and now we're going to look at the life of Serug. We can go over to the periodic table of history. We see our 6,000 years of history over here on the left, and we see our equator axis over here. We're in the northern hemisphere, so we go from Iceland to Italy to Greece, India, China, United States, and Mexico. So we'll use our teleportation device. It comes in handy when we're doing video, and we will teleport from wherever we are. For me, that's the United States, and teleport over into the Middle East. And then we also have our time machine, where we're going to go from our current date back in time to where Serug lived. So let's jump in here now and mark Serug. We'll paint him like we usually do. To get our equilibrium, here is Noah, the survivor of the flood. The flood happens just about right there. Here are Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And then we go down the line to Serug. Now the dates here are non-calibrated dates taken directly from the book of Genesis in the Masoretic text. The timeline is then connected to the making of the Temple of Solomon. We can see down here, and then Arphaxad, a very well-known area. So we can go to Genesis 11 and get our primary text. And Ru lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Ru lived after he begat Serug 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. So we can see that Serug has a father named Ru, and he has a son named Nahor. Let's take a look at the decreasing lifespan after the flood. This graph shows Noah down to Joseph and the decreasing lifespans. We're here at Serug. He lives 230 years, which seems phenomenal to us, but would not seem like much to Noah. Now we're up here by the Mediterranean Sea. The Akkadians and the Assyrians knew Serug as Sarugi. It may be where the Greek's word for Syria is from. The Greek word is Serush. So we could see that it could be corrupted if you put the location ending on it, Seria. Now Serug appears to have spent his life in the Euphrates River region from Syria to of the Persian Gulf. And now we'll come in here and look at some of these connections. I'll put an arrow here where Serug is born and another where he dies. And we can see that Noah, who's all the way here in blue, has a very long lifespan that goes all the way down into the life of Serug. We can see that Serug lived during the life of Shem and Arphaxad, Selah, Eber, Peleg, and Ru. And then we know there's a dispersion that's talked about in all the histories of the earth. We're a couple generations down into this New World Order. Going down from Serug, we see Nahor, Terah, Abraham, and then we even see his lifespan going down here to Ishmael. We can see that Isaac is born here in 2068 BC. Also, we notice that Serug dies in 2067 BC. So according to the Masoretic text, Serug lived all the way into the birth of Isaac. I found one story on Serug. It is found in the book of Jubilees, chapter 11. And in the 35th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, in the 1st year thereof, Ru took to himself a wife, and her name was Orah, the daughter of the son of Kesed. And she bare him a son, and called his name Serug, in the 7th year of this week, in this Jubilee. And the sons of Noah began to war on each other, to take captive and to slay each other, and to shed the blood of men on the earth, and to eat blood, and to build strong cities and walls and towers, and individuals to exalt themselves above the nation, and to found the beginnings of kingdoms, and to go to war, people against people, and nation against nation, and city against city, and all began to do evil, and to acquire arms, and to teach their sons war. And they began to capture cities, and to sell male and female slaves. And the son of Kesed built the city of Ura of the Chaldees, and called its name after his own name, and the name of his father. And they made for themselves molten images, and they worshipped each the idol, the molten image which they had made for themselves. And they began to make graven images and unclean simulacra, and malignant spirits assisted and seduced them into committing transgression and uncleanness. So what's that Solomon says? There's nothing new under the sun. I was always curious if there are any references to Noah and his sons making war, so here is one. Since this is the time of the dispersion, I'm very curious about this time, and I wonder if this time is related to the War of the Titans and other incidences that we see in the ancient histories of multiple peoples. So if you know of any relation, please place your thoughts in the comments section. Now we continue just a few more scriptures in Jubilees. And the prince Mastema exerted himself to do all this, and he sent forth other spirits, those which were put under his hand, to do all manner of wrong and sin, and all manner of transgression, to corrupt and destroy, and to shed blood upon the earth. For this reason he called the name Serug. For every one turned to do all manner of sin and transgression. And he grew up and dwelt in of the Chaldees, near to the father of his wife's mother. And he worshipped idols, and he took to himself a wife in the 36th Jubilee, in the 5th week, in the 1st year thereof, and her name was Melka, the daughter of Cabir, the daughter of his father's brother. So this is really exciting to me. We see the time period right here, and it appears the sons, according to Jubilees, weren't really happy with each other after this period of time, which I can imagine. So we can see how all the descendants are shaking out right here. So we can see that Serug in this area has a little bit of defensive position. The Mediterranean will cut a lot of conquest off. And he has this river, the Euphrates River, and he's backed against the mountains. So this is a pretty good defensive city. And we can see from the generations here that Arphaxad is here with his sons, and we can see them coming out along the Euphrates River and taking up strategic places where tributaries run into the Euphrates. Serug also does this, but this account of Serug also puts him here in and the Chaldees is a name that is attributed later. So here we see the geographic connections of Serug and also the timeline connections of Serug. And now we have some detail about the state of the earth that's really heading towards chaos. It was great fun to play Serug, and I hope you had fun learning about Serug also. So the study was invigorating to me. Hope you enjoyed watching. It's always free to subscribe, thumbs up, share, and comment. And I leave you with this quote by James Paine. "I had never had a piece of toast, particularly long and wide, but fell upon the sanded floor, and always on the buttered side." So hopefully you have better fortune with buttered bread than James Paine does. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.